Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's delightful. As mentioned, I'm a pediatrician and a CEO of a health system. I know less about nutrition services than anybody in the room, so it's silly that I'm up here. So for all of you that haven't done your emails yet, you can probably just do that now. For the few of you that want to listen, I was a CEO, and we had a fabulous nutrition services that were an integral part of what we did. And what I'm going to try and do is talk a little bit about what it takes to hold on to all those recruits that Caitlin got, or the innovative, brilliant people that Peter was talking about, or the folks you get from Janine. How do you hold on to them? How do you build an organization that not only keeps employees, but there's enough people in here that have done enough work. You know that you have employees that stay employed and they work about 70% of their potential. It drives you nuts, right? And you say, geez, they could tear it up, but they don't. Then you have people that kick out about 100%. They're great, and you hold on to them, and they're lovely, and they help you. And then there's the 120 percenters. The 120 percenters that recruit their mom or their daughter or their some brilliant sister-in-law who comes in and helps your organization, and they think up new ideas like the robot to deliver food, and they really make your organization great. Here's what it takes. You have to, long before the crisis, you have to do some very important things. Communication is absolutely a key. The bottom piece, before you do your emails, the bottom piece is something to think about, and that is, what difference does it have to happen in you and in the organization when you switch from being in charge of, from having a downline, to being responsible for the well-being in your organization, in your team? And I'm going to show you the structure that helps you do that. It takes structure to be creative. You have to have structure so that we don't run between panic and neglect. Think about this. This is from Tedros in the World Health Organization. He was talking about pandemics and a variety of things. But think in your organization, the number of things that you think about, people think about, they think about, and nothing gets done, and all of a sudden those 3 people quit. Yeah, I should have addressed that manager's issue. Or all of a sudden you're out of something, time and again, you can think of this. How many times in your organization do you operate between panic and neglect, and how inefficient that is? And if that's a problem for you, what do you think it is for the frontline folks? It's a disaster. They hate it. They absolutely hate it, and it's another big lump on the wrong side of the balance sheet for them staying. So here's a strategic plan. I started putting that out when I became the CEO. People said, oh my God, it's our strategic plan. Shouldn't that be secret? Shouldn't this be classified? I said, no. If everybody in the country adopted this strategic plan for healthcare, it'd be great, because it's outward facing. It's outward facing. And I'm going to argue that if you want to build a fabulous place, a great place to work, see the middle strategy down there is a great place to work. And I'm supposed to be talking about staffing. But it's not a one-off. It's part of the whole package. It's part of a whole package to say what is it going to take to build really a great place to work. And I'm going to say it's an externally facing purpose. An externally facing purpose. Purpose is improve the health and well-being of patients in our communities. Everybody in nutrition, everybody in IT, everybody in HR, everybody can be a part of that. They can see themselves in that. They're part of something bigger than themselves. Our mission is to distinguish ourselves through excellence. So whether you're in food service, or you're in IT, or you're in the pediatric department, or cardiac surgery, your job is to distinguish ourselves through excellence. We're going to measure it. Your directors are going to come in and say, here's how we distinguish ourselves. And frankly, the directors from our organization have been on this stage and have talked about how they distinguish themselves. I didn't do any of their work for them. They did all their work, and they were fabulous. They were so good, they were nationally recognized. So you see the vision piece there says nationally recognized. We're rural Wisconsin. We're a bunch of nice people. We sit around, we chat with you. No, actually, we're not. We're just as mean as the rest of the country. But we just hide it better. But the truth is, The truth is, it's hard to convince these people they can be as good as anybody else. How can our breast center be as good as Hopkins or Stanford? Actually, they were. They had better outcomes. How can our bariatric program have the best outcomes in the country? How can our environmental program be so good it was the only one at the Paris climate talks? Well, you set a vision and you go after that. And you get regular people to go after and do that work, and they do fabulous work because you ask them to do something great. You set a set of values, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. This is very important for you as leaders. You have to do the very, very hard work. You might notice there's no easy button in this at all. The very hard work of living the values of the organization to make it a great place. What does it take to make a great place? Well, again, it is not easy. It's consistency. It is hard work. But I'll argue, if you build a place that serves a higher purpose, you have inspirational, meaningful goals. Okay, so who will get excited when the CEO comes out and said, well, we've made an aggressive plan this year and we're going to move our operating margin from 3.2 to 3.3%. What do you think? Yeah, you're back on your emails, right? Nobody cares. You don't care, and you're a manager, a director, a vice president. Do you think your staff care? They don't even understand it, but they don't care. They don't care. What's a goal? A goal, it's Ritz-Carlton, it's ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. It's Southwest, not flying airplanes, but taking people to great adventures and seeing their families. It's framing it and saying, we're going to improve the health and well-being of our population. That's what makes a difference. Does it work hard? Oh, yeah, you have to work hard. I never told them it would be easy, and it gets harder as you move up into the organization. We had no bonuses. We had no special perks. All of us at the senior C-suite lived in cubes because I wanted us to be humble at the top, not full of ourselves at the top. And everybody needs to feel part of the success. You codify this by building a compact. The compact says, here's what we owe you as an organization. Here's what you owe us as an individual. When you come here and you give it online, your recruiters get it. And then when you interview, they get it. And when they come for their first day orientation, they get it. They get this all the time. And this, I guess I have the medical staff one up here, but everybody had a compact. It was an honesty thing. I want you to succeed. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to aim for excellence. You're going to have to respect everybody in the organization. One of the most talked about, a question about pieces of my book is when there's a section I talk about a neurosurgeon who was fabulous and he got great outcome stuff, but he trashed several of our frontline employees. And he wouldn't change his behavior, so we fired him. And he said, boy, I put $5 million on the books last year. And my reply was, yes, and I will miss that $5 million. But I can't have you trashing a nurse at 7:30 in the morning and having her so upset she makes mistakes for 11 and a half hours. That can't happen. Our priorities have to be, so this is not easy. You think of bad leaders. They have short-term thinking. They try and solve their problems short-term, and they're egocentric, right? All this faces people externally. It all faces them externally. How do we face externally? How do we behave in a way so we make it great for everybody? If this isn't a compact that says, okay, the frontline people have to behave like this, but the senior people, you can get away with murder. Turns out, this is one of the biggest flaws in most businesses, healthcare, industry, education. Middle to upper management don't live by the same code as the front line. Do you think the front line knows that? They do. Do you think it pisses them off? On a regular basis. Right. You want to hold on to all those people that Caitlin spent her whole life trying to get into your organization? Yeah, this is what it takes. No easy. There's nothing easy about this at all. Here's David Brooks and Dubois at Oxford conference. This is what it takes. You want to control because you know all the right answers and stuff, but collaboration is what it takes to hold on to those staff. You have to be a clear you, not a poster CEO or director or manager. You have to be you. You's okay. You is going to actually be great. They'll appreciate you. David Brooks, I can hear his voice when he said this. He said you have to be a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. One of my hardest thing to do as a CEO is to get my vice presidents, my senior vice presidents, my executive directors out into the front line and talk to the front line people. They said, oh, I got busy, I got to meet with the CFO for the 8th time this week or some other crap. I said, give me your schedule, I'll find time. Oh, no, I'll find time. Yeah, you're right, you will. You learn so much going to the front line. You learn so much. It will differentiate you. It'll help you. You understand the stresses are so much different between people, and you'll understand better how to communicate. The chain of command. I tell the senior vice president, who tells the vice president, who tells the executive director, tells the director, tells the man. It doesn't work. It's never worked. I mean, I know there's people write articles about how it should work and it's supposed to work and this is how the hierarchy is supposed to. Yeah, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Ask the front line if it works. It doesn't work. So spend time. Now, back to the compact. It doesn't mean communication is free and easy. If you're the employees, you have a responsibility. You have to either come to the verbal meetings, you have to look online, or you have to look at the stuff posted in your department. And we as an organization, we have to put all the information they need in one of those 3 places. Shared responsibility. You consistently build the concept of shared responsibility. But that means we have a responsibility too, and we have to live up to that. And if we don't live up to it, we have to admit it. The HR and the legal people hated it when I did open forums. I did open forums with 300 people to 3 people at a time. 10 minutes on Gunderson, 10 minutes on the world of healthcare, 40 minutes, anything you want. Anything, any open questions. Any question, I'll take any question. It allowed me to demonstrate humility because, yeah, I didn't know the answers to a lot of the questions. But it was a good thing. It set up all these other things to work. And of course, I put my learn it all up there again. Let's go back to that very first slide. The very first slide where I was talking about what does it take to go from being in charge of people to being responsible for their success. This is what it takes. It takes you thinking about communication. What's the biggest error in communication? That we think it happened. Didn't happen. We said something. We pronounced something. We blabbed on and on. We made a video and posted and said, we had multiple channels of communication. The more you're out there, the more likely they're going to read your emails. The more you're honest about communication, the more they're going to talk to you about hard things. You might say, I don't know if I have time for all that. You don't have time either to keep recruiting people over and over. I don't know why they're leaving. Yeah, well, they all know. And all you got to do is ask them. And if you don't, you just got to get farther upstream. So this is not magic. There's nothing magic about it. In the time that I was CEO, you might say, well, all looks good. He's kind of an old guy. He probably had long hair and sandals in the 70s. It's probably true. During this time that we ran under this externally facing, of course our quality improved and our service improved. In a town of 55,000, we had 25,000 people apply for jobs every year. We didn't hire anybody under kindergarten age. But we had tons of success. Our financial success, best in 114 years of the organization. More savings, lowered the cost, grew rapidly. Not because those were our goals. Our goals are to improve the health and well-being of patients in the community. But it's because we generated such enthusiasm on such a broad breadth of staff, not the C-suite. My last point, you think this is not worth doing? I've spoken to CEO groups this big, and I said, I'll take on any group. You take your 7 people in your C-suite and put them against my 7,000, and we'll destroy you. We'll destroy you. You can't possibly compete compared to us. So that's my final thought for you. Engage the broad breadth, aim for a higher purpose, you'll be all good. You can send me email if you have questions that we don't get to today. Thanks for your attention.